Efuru by Flora Nwapa, Chapter 15. Nwabata, I had a very bad dream last night. Nwosu told his wife when he woke up in the morning. A bad dream? Tell me the dream. I saw Nwashike Ogene dressed very gorgeously, as if he was going to a dance, his fan in his hand. I have never seen him look so well before. Was his staff in his hand? Yes, his staff of office was in his hand. He looked so handsome. If Nwashike Ogene is not dead, then he is seriously ill, or one of his children is seriously ill. Our gods forbid. I must go to the town, Nwabata. There is no point sitting here thinking. Boom, boom, boom. The cannon. Nwosu, your dream has come true. Nwashike Ogene is dead. But was he ill? Yes, he had been ill for some time now. A great thing has happened today. Have you heard the cannon? One man asked Nwosu. We have heard it. A great man has gone. Are you going to town? Nwosu asked. Let's go, the man said. Nwabata, I must go now. When you finish the cassava, bring it along with the children. I want to go and help Efuru with the funeral. There it sounds again, like thunder rendering the quiet of the morning. Did you say it is Nwashike Ogene? The man asked. You are right, he is dead then. When you see a man gorgeously dressed in a dream, know that he is dead or about to die. On the other hand, if you see a man in rags in a dream, then he is going to live very long. We must go, Nwabata. Bring the children to town by road. I am going with Igwe. Igwe, you go for your canoe. Both men carried their small portable canoes on their heads to the great river. They got into them, balanced well, and off they paddled to town. Did you hear the owl crying last night? Igwe asked. I heard it. It is a bad omen. But let's go on. Perhaps it is not as bad as we think. Boom, boom, boom. The cannon began again to tear the stillness of the great river. Nwosu and Igwe paddled on in silence. The only sound that was heard from a long time was that made by the men's paddles when the canoe came down on the great river so rhythmically and reverently. Occasionally, the birds would make a noise among the woods on the other side of the great river. Then fishes would come up and disappear again into the deep. At one time, one was very near Nwosu's canoe. It is Efuru. Igwe, who was a fisherman, said, That's how they behave. They will never enter into your canoe. They only come near to tease you. Oh, the cannon again. Our ancestors help us. A great man has left us. You don't fire cannons when an ordinary man dies. Cannons can be seen only in wealthy men's houses. Cannons are the signs of greatness. Are you returning? Some people asked Nwosu and Igwe. Yes, we are returning. Is the town good? We are not from the town. We are from our farm. We have heard the cannon and we are going to collect a relative who is ill in another farm. When we collect him, we shall go to the town. A great man has departed from us. Nwosu and Igwe paddled on in silence. They sang the songs of their age group. They sang in praise of their ancestors, in praise of their village warriors, in praise of themselves and their children. Then suddenly, boom, 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 the cannon again began to rend the air. Ohamiri, shield us, Nwosu cried out. Don't call her name here. Don't you know that she is not in speaking terms with Okita, the owner of the great river? If you call her again to our aid, Okita will be angry with us and capsize our canoes. It is true. I talk as if I am a child or a stranger. Okita, please spare your children. Don't harm your children. It is not spite, it is not disrespect, it is mere ignorance. So spare your children. How far it is today, Igwe observed. You mean the town? Yes, the town. It seems as if it is moving away from us. When shall we get there? Perhaps when the sun is overhead. It is very far, you know. Sometimes when I fish, I come as far as this place without realizing how far it is. We are anxious to get to town, that's why it is so far. Just out of the blue, A bird began to sing. Nwosu and Igwe looked at each other in astonishment. "This is strange," said Igwe. The bird went on singing its beautiful song. "Why is the bird singing at this time of the day?" Nwosu asked in utter amazement. "That bird sings when the sun is down, in actual fact, when people are eating their evening meals. But hear it now, singing without stopping. It is a bad omen. Our ancestors, please protect us. Have we sinned against you? Have we failed to sacrifice to you? Has any of you, your children, been guilty of murder, of rape, or of adultery?" The bird went on singing, impervious of the men's fear. Then suddenly it flew out from the woods above the heads of the men and disappeared into the woods again. Both men nearly lost their balance in their small canoes in utter fright. For a while the two did not say a word. They paddled on and on. The beautiful blue lake seemed to move farther and farther away from them. The great river was still. It was the first time the two men had found it so quiet at that time of the day. They paddled on. Boom, 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 the cannon again. "How many times now since morning?" they asked. It must have sounded 6 or 7 times. It was the death of a great man. No poor man could afford to fire 7 rounds of a cannon in a day. Nwosu and the fisherman could now vaguely remember the story of the cannons told them by their fathers. The white slave dealers gave the people the cannon in exchange for slaves. The white slave dealers were the Portuguese, the Dutch, the English, or the French. The people regarded them as white men. Their nationality did not make any difference. They were all the same. The white slave dealers gave them the cannons, the guns, and the hot drinks. The hot drinks did what the Indian hemp is doing in politics today. The only difference is that the hot drinks were legal and the Indian hemp illegal, but both performed the same function. The cannons were owned by very distinguished families who themselves took part actively in slave dealing. They were distinguished because they were privileged to have had contact with the slave dealers. Nwosu and the fisherman could not recollect what havoc the cannons and the guns and the hot drinks did for their people. All that happened when they were children. Now the shooting of the cannon did not only announce the death of a great man, but also announced that the great man's ancestors had dealings with the white men who dealt in slaves. At last, Nwosu and the fisherman saw the waters of the blue lake mingling beautifully, majestically, and calmly with the brown waters of the great river. The sport could be very calm or very rough, depending on the mood of Ohamiri, the owner of the lake, and Okita, the owner of the great river. The two were supposed to be husband and wife, but they governed different domains and nearly always quarreled. Nobody knew the cause or nature of their constant quarrels. "We have arrived, Obuides and why?" The fisherman greeted Ohamiri, the owner of the lake, and as he said this, he took some water with his hands, washed his face, and drank again and again. "Ohamiri, the most beautiful of women, your children have arrived safely. We are grateful to you," Nwosu said as he washed his face and drank some water. They paddled on with more vigor now that they were reaching home. "By the time the sun is here," Nwosu said, and pointing upwards to indicate where he meant, "we shall get home." They had no clock to read the time, but they had the sun, and the sun to them was more accurate than the clock which was made by man. The sun rose every day and set every day. The people could easily tell the time or make appointments by merely looking up at the sky. "Ohamiri is also deserted," the fisherman observed. "Everybody has gone to the funeral. That's why Ohamiri is deserted. My dream has come true. I am sure now that it is Nwashike Ogene who has died," Nwosu said. "Don't say that, or else the gods will hear you. Don't say it again. It is not Nwashike Ogene who is dead. It is his enemy. Yes, it is his enemy." There were some white people swimming. Some of them were fishing in their noisy boats. Nwosu and the fisherman stared at them for a long time, shook their heads, and paddled on. Are they not a queer lot to come all the way to swim and fish here? They are strange people. They come every time to fish, but they catch nothing. How can they catch anything when they do not observe the rules of the woman of the lake? And look at their boats. How can they catch anything in such noisy boats? Fish swim away from them, and besides, they disturb the woman of the lake with their boats. It is a wonder she does not capsize their offensive boats and drown them all, said the fisherman in annoyance. You forget, my friend, that our woman of the lake is the kindest of women, kinder to strangers than to her own people. She is very understanding. She knows that the white people are strangers to her land. That's why she is lenient with them. We, her people, dare not be so disrespectful. Why do the white women wear tight dresses for swimming? Why don't they use wrappers as our women do? They have no shame. They do not know that they are naked. You are right, but what beats me is their idleness. How can they leave the comfort of their homes in the big towns and come to swim all day in the lake? The two men paddled on. They reached the shrine of the woman of the lake. We have returned, the great woman of the lake, the most beautiful of women, the kindest of women. Your children have returned safely. Having thus paid their respects, they moved on. Mosu, welcome. Igwe, welcome. You have heard the bad news. Nwashike Ogene has left us. He has not done well. Nwashike Ogene, the good one, friend of children, lover of peace and of truth. Nwashike Ogene has left us to mourn his loss. Who will replace Nwashike Ogene? Who will be like him in our great village? Death, you do not know how to kill. Death, why do you not kill the wicked ones first? Go along, you will see him lying in state with his staff of office beside him. You won't know he is dead. You will think he is only asleep. All last night his daughter Efuru cried at his bedside. This morning she lost her voice. She is so upset. Efuru was in the market when she was sent for. By the time she arrived, he was dead. A most peaceful death. That's what it should be. Nwashike Ogene deserved a peaceful death. He was so good. Boom, boom, boom. The cannon again. Years ago, they might have signified war between the peaceful town and a warlike neighbor, the people firing their cannons to frighten away the enemies, the crude enemies, who did not have contact with the white people. It was not so today. There was no war. The town was at peace with their neighbors and their gods, goddesses, and ancestors. The booming of the cannons was announcing the departure of the great sun, the last of the generation that had direct contact with the white people who exchanged their cannons, hot drinks, and cheap ornaments for black slaves.